Hey guys, how are you all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So we'll go straight over to those charts. So obviously we drew this pennant in last night's video. We were looking pretty tight in there, like we were going to break out at any point, which we did. So we did. We broke out to the top side, which then was obviously triggered a buy trade, which did get us up to 9,000, basically just about 9,900 from where we broke out, about 9,750. So that was a nice move, but obviously Bitcoin being Bitcoin, it decided it was just going to then smash us back down. And we got all the way down to the this support zone again. So we got supported by this support zone again pretty strongly. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult to read the price action now. It's just not a great price action, obviously, as you can see. Just these scammy moves all the time: up, down, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, they're just liquidating people that are going short, liquidating people that are going long, and then just basically rinse and repeat. So we're just in a difficult zone. Again though, we're still finding ourselves there or thereabouts inside this support zone. But whilst ever we sort of trade underneath it, like we pretty much are now, you do have to assume that we're potentially going to make a move down to test the support, well, more convincingly than this time, and stay down here and see if we can break it. But it's very difficult to read the price action. 4-hour Stokes are turning down, but 12-hour and daily are not looking so bad. 12-hour starting to curl back up again. If this does start to get some proper upward movement, that will start to look really good, and that will obviously be accompanied by a pretty bullish price action. But yeah, it's just a really difficult zone. It's just a really difficult zone at the moment. I mean, it's just really a case of you just set your orders in to buy the support and sell the resistance. But the only problem you've got is that then you can get something like this happens and you buy the support, and then you just got to hope that your stop gets your stop is you put it in quick enough. Obviously you should put it in first, really, and then you actually get filled on your stop, because the movements are just absolutely insane, some of them. All that being said though, the overall trend is still to the upside. We're still holding this high. We're not really making lower lows at all, even compared to the more recent price action. That wick only got us down to, basically down to 9,400, mid 9,400s. But it is going to have to make a decision soon. I'm still leaning bullish just because of where we sat, where we stayed, where we keep coming back up to. We only need to convincingly get over this level to, I think, you can see the horizontals here. Get above roughly where we wicked up to, the 9,900. I think we will take out this 10,000 support. And then I think that will then start to lead to a more of an expansion in volatility. You can kind of see we're getting these moves, but we are ultimately finding ourselves roughly in the same zone again. So that shows this is where the price kind of wants to be. The buyers and the sellers are sort of agreeing. The buyers will try and get a push to try and push us out of this zone, and they'll get rejected back down. The sellers will have a push to try and get us out of this zone, and then the equilibrium is still getting found around this zone. So I do believe though we can't stay here much longer. I did say that yesterday when we drew our little pennant, that we can't really stay here much longer, but it turns out we can. It turns out we can have that period of low volatility, have this big candle of high volatility, and then apparently just go back to low volatility again. So yeah, it's a bit exasperating, isn't it? Yeah, so it is hard for me to call. I mean, whilst price action stays up here, then I think the bias is to the upside, but I'm becoming less and less convinced the longer we don't actually break up, and then the fact we are sat under this now. So I don't really see that we can't come down and test this zone properly and actually spend some time around this support zone like we did spend, well, sort of like we spent it around here, and like we've been spending time up here. I do think that may trigger a bit more of a down move, here. Yeah, I do think yeah, that, I mean, to be honest, in the short term, I do think in the short term that we are probably going to test some downside. As you guys know, we've got this potential ascending triangle. I do think it is maybe more likely in the short term we come and test these levels, but in the unless we break this, then obviously we can see lower prices. But if we don't break that and get supported, I still think overall it is very bullish looking. And if we do form this large ascending triangle, that would be incredibly bullish looking. But yeah, but that's obviously sort of a medium longer term time frame, whereas obviously today we want to know what is the most likely price action today. So I mean, that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'm leaning short term down, medium longer term up, providing we get supported here. But that doesn't have to be the case. We can lose these levels, and then come down to 8,600 and lose that level. One thing I'm pretty certain of though is that we are going to get some bigger increase in volatility. I mean, what a triangle obviously is you start off wider, then you get more narrow to a point. Obviously you guys know that, and you can kind of see we're starting off with wider movement, and it is getting narrower. It's got narrower very quickly, but we could still start to expand, but stay within this overall narrowing volatility formation. So we're expecting a big move soon. I mean, as a rule of thumb, you could sort of see this distance, say 9,850 to 8,000. So call it 8,500. So you can kind of see this is the kind of sort of expansion in volatility we could end up seeing. So that is a pretty large amount. That would put us up to around 11,500, or put us easily down to obviously this 8,000 zone, clearly taking out the 8,600. So that will clearly put us in back into a downtrend. A downtrend on the larger time frame, and looking very much like we're gonna have to come and find some support somewhere lower. So that's kind of really all we've got really to just to keep an eye on. I mean, it's a difficult zone to trade. It's more a case of waiting. It's more like a case of, are we going to get above this zone and start to expand the volatility up to 11.5k, start the 2020 bull run, or are we going to lose this support of this triangle and then start to make a move just down to, well, I mean, we don't want to see it down towards the bottom of this triangle, but I mean, it's very, look how easily it did happen from here all the way through the bottom, and that's this point we were at a higher level as well. So from here to see a move down to what could end up being around 5,000 is clearly not off the cards. But we have got good support around this 8,000. Sorry, it's not 8,000. What am I talking about? We have got good support around this sort of this mid 6,000 zone. So it could very well be the case, like we saw here, we kind of get supported here and then make a move back up. But obviously that move didn't last, and we did get forced down lower ultimately. But maybe this time we will come down and hold here, and then again, what happens is then we potentially form that in massive inverse head and shoulders, which, depending on where you want to take it from, I mean, I don't know whether you want to take it necessarily the bottom of the wicks or from these candles here. That's say 5,000. It's roughly 5,000 to 10,000. So it's a $5,000 move. So that means we could go from this zone here up to the neckline around 10,000, break the neckline, and then be at 15,000 relatively soon. So there are lots of potential bullish formations forming, but I mean, they don't have to play that way. We've obviously got the bearish one that we could come down, and we could take out this, and it'll be absolutely disastrous for Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, it's a case of really just watching larger time frames, waiting for some closers, trying to stay out of the market. I know that I've got my bots on in small size, but I'm not taking many other positions at the moment really at all, because we just need some resolution, and it's getting too scammy. Because we're getting close to potential resolutions, one of these sort of scammy breakouts that you try and fade, if you try and fade the move, try and fade one of these moves, that could be the move, and then we can just keep flying in the other direction. So it's very dangerous at the moment. Very dangerous to be taking positions either with an expansion of shorter term volatility, or even just fading those moves. We've just got to get some clarity in where the trend's going. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? Yeah, and that's all we can really do at the moment. So yeah, very difficult time. Let's have a quick look at the DMT and Dominator. I mean, just no indicator like these, trend or breakout indicators, are going to work very well when we aren't really moving. So that's just something to be cognizant of. But anyway, so right, that's it today. So it's just not much to say. I can't just pretend things that aren't there or are there, just to give some exciting, useful information. But I mean, overall, we are still bullish overall. I mean, there is a possibility for some downside in the shorter term, even medium time frame. But ultimately, be very bullish overall. Maybe be one last real good buying opportunity in Bitcoin before we do have a bull run, or maybe it will be disaster. Maybe we'll maybe reality will set in the world, in the stock markets, and we'll have another liquidity crunch. We'll have another like March event where everything goes down and gets absolutely destroyed. I mean, maybe that's coming. We just don't know. Anything can happen. All I know in the moment in these markets is anything can happen. There's some stocks that are just doing absolutely insane things in the actual traditional stock markets. So yeah, we just got to keep an eye on it all, guys. But anyway, so right, that's it for this morning. Yeah, look out for my other videos, and I will, yeah, remember, not financial advice. Always just remind you again, not financial advice, and I'll speak to you guys later.